Today with Tsunami Hydrographics, today we're going to put a heating element underneath my tank. I'm on slab. Seems to be where I'm losing about 3 degrees overnight. Time I drain 50 gallons out and put some hot water in it, I'm still killing about an hour's worth of time. So, want to put an element down there. Hold on, I'll grab it for you, show you what we're going to do. So this is the element right here, guys. Comes in a mesh. The orange in the center of it is the actual heating elements. And you can separate this stuff and fold it around and get it to where you need it. So what I'm going to do is move the tank out, put some isolation down there. I use a cork board. It's more of a foam, styrofoam board. All right, this is the isolation right here. I forget the name of it. That's why I just don't remember it. It's styrofoam, very high density though. We're going to set that down, glue that down to the floor, and then set this over the top of it. Put some self-leveling over the top of that, which will actually level the floor out because this floor is sloped down to a drain. Under the tank itself, so it'll have full coverage underneath it. You won't have to shim it up like I had it. And let that dry for probably maybe 24, 48 hours, depending on the heat that I get in here. And move this back over and set it right down on top of it. And then we're going to check and see how our temperature is overnight. My heaters only run when my pump is running. It doesn't have a thermostat that just keeps it warm all the time. Unfortunately, it's just the way the tank was designed. So I'm trying to keep it at a constant 90 degrees, and I think the thermostat might help it. So we already disconnected the power. We're going to secure that. Make sure your circuit breakers are off, of course. Don't want to electrocute. There we go. All right, so we've got our floor all ready to prep. We'll get back with you in a second here. We're going to get this cleaned up. We're going to roughen it up, sand it up. It's a porcelain tile, so we've got to have something to bond to. So we'll grind the top of this down, get a nice good bonding material, and then we'll get back with you, okay? All right, guys, we got the floor scuffed up. Most of it's off of it. If this was a tile floor or something, it'd have to be really nice so you get good adhesion. What we're going to do, we're going to set up, I don't know, who knows how many thousands of pounds of water on top of this floor here, so I'm not worried about anything coming up. Okay, this is Easy Mat. This is going to be a thermal barrier between my concrete and the heating element. It comes with a self-adhesive back, but you want to use their primer. You put the primer down, let it tack, and then this stuff goes down on the top of that. And it's one of those things that once you set it, you're done. You can't manipulate it. So be real careful with that if you get around to doing that. Anyway, we're going to apply this stuff here. We'll get back to you in a few. All right, guys, we got our Easy Mat down. We used a spray adhesive. It sat around for quite a long time and lost its tackness. So I use a little spray adhesive and it's sticking just fine. So anyway, we've got our thermal barrier. That's a good word. Thermal barrier. Down. Now we're going to lay the wire heat out. We'll speed that up. Comes in 2-foot rolls, so you're going to cut and fold and cut and fold and just try to use it all up in the area. It's 2 foot by 20 feet, or is it 2 foot by 20 feet? Yeah, it's going to give me 40 square feet. I might have a little left over here, which you don't want. But we'll see what we can do. We might hang it out and maybe when we self-level it, make this a little bit bigger. But our dedicated circuit's coming over to here, so this is where we're going to want to start our lead and then start our pattern coming up from here. Anyway, we'll check back in with it in a few. All right, guys, we laid the Easy Mat out. We're a little short over there, not going to hurt anything. The problem with this stuff is you don't want to be long with it because you got no place to put it. So I'm glad that I'm short. I could spread it out if I wanted to, shorten up the top here, bring it back, but I'm fine with this. It's just for the main surface area of the bottom of the tank. What you want to do with it, if you install one of these, is make sure you do a resistance check on your wires before you cover it. So what I'm doing is running the leads on an ohm meter, and this should read that each mat, depending on the length, will have a specified resistance allowance, and that's what you want to compare it to, okay? You check it when it comes out of the box, you check it when it's down on the floor, you check it after it's been self-leveled, okay? 3 checks. I got 31, about 30.8, 30.8, 30.9, it'll fluctuate a little bit, okay? That's where I'm at right now. So I write that down, come back to it after I put the self-leveling on it, and we better be close to that, otherwise we've done something wrong. We've injured it or ruptured it or damaged one of the interior heating elements inside of it where there's so much resistance that it won't work or it'll get a hot spot on the floor itself. All right, what I want to do now that I've got the heating element spaced out is I'm going to tack it down with some spray adhesive. Just got some 77 over at Home Depot. Spray the back of it down to my the styrofoam thermal protector. Then I'm going to glue a dam around all three sides of this with some hot glue. Just give me some sort of a constraining point for my self-leveling. Once I get that down, the hot glue will pop right out of there when I'm done with it. It actually works good between the joints and everything. And then I can just pour the self-leveling in the hole and let it do its thing. And it'll level itself out. Then when I get my tank, I can set it right back on top of it, and I should be dialed in perfectly. All right, guys, it's the next day. We've got our self-leveling all cured. Not completely, but it's hard enough to walk on, as you can see. I've taken my dam down, actually done all the wiring. This got a switch just to turn this on and off if I wanted to. It's got a program that will turn on at 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock and run all night long. I mean, I've got different options to do with this. But anyway, it's all set up. We've tested the ohms, and it was 31.4, I think 30.4, but it was right on where it was when we took it out and laid it out on the floor. So that's critical that you guys do that. Otherwise, you're just spinning your wheels. You're not going to get any success out of it if you already damaged the wire. So it's very important. Anyway, we're ready to slide this tank back on top of this. I've got it heated up right now. It's going to go to 99 degrees. I'm going to cure this floor as much as possible in the next day or so. But then we'll have to get back with you and let you know how much we actually lose overnight. And if I can keep it at a constant 90 degrees, that's really the key of what I'm trying to enable this thing to do. There's not a lot of the materials, but we're going to find out if it actually will save us money in the long term. Plus, not just money, but time for standing around and letting your tank heat up overnight, or letting it heat up the next day when you're ready to dip and you still have cold water. So anyway, I'll get back to you as soon as we get the tank back on and let you know how we do. Anyway, guys, what I did was I made sure I had room this time to walk around and clean the back of the tank. I just pulled it out forward. I had more heating element. Now I can actually clean the back wall here without stretching as much as I was. But yeah, just give you a little more versatility if I guess we had to. So it takes up a little bit more of my shop, but I'll deal with it. Anyway, we're going to fill this thing up with water and start testing the heat on it. We'll let you know as soon as we find out something. We've got it all back set up. We've had a couple little things we took care of. If you notice the big black wire coming down, we had a little bit smaller wire than necessary. When I was putting it back down, I noticed the wire getting a little hot. So we checked with Jake, and he recommended 6-gauge wire. So we ran that new line down to it. Everything's running great right now. Thermostat's working perfect. They've got it set for 90 degrees for the floor heat. This tank actually hasn't been on pump-wise or heater-wise for 3 days. All right, and this is actually our temperature right now, 90.5 degrees. Okay, so you're not only saving the pump life expectancy, you're saving a lot of energy. This wire only uses, it's a little bit bigger than the 32 square feet. It's using 4 amps. Okay. We started at 99 degrees. We had to heat up the concrete. Even though we had the thermal barrier down, we had to heat the concrete up and get it up to a warm enough temperature so that it would actually transfer all the heat upwards. Once that happened, it took about 12 hours for it to happen. It actually ran warmer than we needed it to do. So we dropped it down to 90 degrees, and it's 90.5. So I think this is something that some of you guys can use maybe in your colder shops where you're losing a lot of energy. Now, granted, I've got pretty good insulation around this. Okay, I've got 1.5 inches around the sides and 3 inches on top. I found it at Habitat for Humanity for like 20-30 bucks a sheet, so it was real reasonable. But if you have a way of ice or insulating your tank, and then putting the heat underneath it, I think it'll help a lot of you guys keeping your temperature. When I come back from wherever I'm at, my tank is ready to dip. I'm ready to dump something into there, and I don't have to sit there and run the pump and heat up the whole system for sometimes an hour, depending on how much I've lost overnight or whichever situation I'm in. Anyway, at the end of the video, we'll show you a time-elapsed graduation of the temperature, and we've got a little, we set this timer up to minutes here, and you can actually see that it's sat for 11-12 hours with no loss of temperature at all. Anyway, hope this will help you guys. If you got any questions, you can PM me on the forum, but this is Dave with Tsunami Hydrographic Coatings. Check it out.